Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump did an interview with Laura Ingraham, and he came right out and said, America has no talent. So he's talking about for those high tech jobs. Well, yeah. And MAGA is having a meltdown over there on X. They are having a full meltdown because you know how entitled these folks are, even if they're not qualified for a certain position because of the pay, they think it should by default go to them. Well, Donald Trump said, you got to bring in H-1B visas, people with those from, mainly from India, because America just don't have the talent here in this country. And it's very contradictory what he's saying because isn't he the one that got rid of the Department of Education when he first got into office? Yes, he did. It's not like they encouraged people to go for those big tech positions because they didn't. They didn't. In fact, I remember Donald Trump said he loved dumb people. He loved it. So you can't say that in one instance and then complain that you don't have enough talent to fill these jobs. And the bottom line is when it comes down to I was in big tech, but the bottom line is they don't want our people in there. The whole time I worked in IT, I could count the melanated people on one hand. And it was like that the entire time. They don't want us in those positions. They feel those positions should go to them. And I have a sister talking about that. There should be way more of our people in high tech. But like anything, we get squeezed out of positions. And then when we bring these things up, it gets denied. Oh, we're not doing that. We don't do that. Yes, you do. You have a whole history of doing it. So, y'all, shalom to everybody in the chat. Shalom. All right. Let me go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. Okay. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Mhm. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
For shortcomings, the answer might surprise you.
What's up, world? Let me tell you about this beard growth oil I got from 12 tribes on Earth. 8 ounces of oily goodness with a nozzle that prevents sprays and spills, and soft ingredients that make it perfect addition to anyone's morning routine. From coconut to castor, all these oils are hand chosen. After using this herbal blend, the biggest thing I noticed is how soft, how strong my hair was, and how good I feel. Pick up your bottle today and make your beard the star of the show.
Did former President Donald Trump really just say America has no talent? That's the headline grabbing the nation after his latest interview. But what did he actually mean? Let's break it down. Trump, known for his America First stance, shocked both fans and critics when he suggested that a lack of domestic talent is why the U.S. needs the H-1B visa program. It's a stark reversal from his usual rhetoric. Now, you might be thinking, didn't he campaign on limiting immigration? Absolutely. But here's the twist. Trump's acknowledging a skills gap. Is this a calculated pivot or an admission of workforce shortcomings? The answer might surprise you.
We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated. In a few moments, I will sign an executive order to begin eliminating the Federal Department of Education once and for all. Smart people don't like me, and they don't like what we talk about.
Let me set the scene. In this high-stakes political year, every word is scrutinized. Trump's statement landed like a meteor, igniting angry responses from MAGA loyalists and cautious optimism from big tech. If the U.S. really lacks skilled labor, what does that mean for American workers and the future of tech innovation? Let's clear up what the H-1B visa actually is. In simplest terms, it's a special work permit for highly skilled foreign professionals. Think software engineers, medical researchers, data scientists. The U.S. issues about 85,000 of these visas annually, mostly to tech firms in Silicon Valley and Seattle.
He ran his campaign on America First. So all of a sudden, he wakes up overnight and feels like he's got to find better talent outside of the United States. That's not being America First. Same way he received that airplane as a gift. I also feel like the notion that we got to get talent outside of the United States, I feel there was a deal that was made. So don't be surprised when it all come out in the wash.
Now here's a technical term, labor certification. Employers must prove there aren't enough qualified U.S. workers before hiring abroad. Simple in theory, complex in practice. Picture this. Google or Microsoft launches a new AI initiative. They need experts in quantum algorithms, but can't find enough talent locally. Enter the H-1B. Is it a lifeline for innovation or a loophole to bypass American workers? That's the heart of this policy debate, and it's why the program is so controversial. Why does the H-1B program set off alarms? Critics argue it's less about filling skills gaps and more about replacing Americans with cheaper labor.
All the horrible things this man has said, this is the one thing that is making everybody, they have been dragging him on Twitter for like 2 days.
The Republicans have to talk about it.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent.
We have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put
How did we ever do it before?
Well,
when you and I were
I'll give you an
up.
example. In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made batteries all their lives. You know, making batteries are very complicated. It's not an easy thing and very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in, going to invest $10 billion to build a plant, and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way.
Here's where two more technical terms come in: wage depression and labor arbitrage. Wage depression happens when companies pay imported workers less, pushing down salaries for everyone. Labor arbitrage is just a fancy way of saying outsourcing with a new address. Now imagine you're a software engineer in Texas. You see colleagues laid off, only to watch H-1B hires fill those seats. It feels personal. But at the same time, U.S. Companies say they can't compete globally without access to top talent.
Trump said that we don't have any talented people here. An interviewer was talking to Trump about raising the minimum wage for American people and saying that we can't do that if we're flooding our workforce with foreigners. And he responded, well, we need talent. And she said, well, there's talented people here. And he said, no, there's not. No, there's not. This is just hilarious because these are the same people that were literally complaining about how, we don't want anybody coming into the country and we need to put Americans first and we need to have Americans doing these jobs because immigrants are stealing our jobs. And then the president is literally saying, oh, well, I need to bring in people because you guys aren't talented. And we all know also what it is. It's not just the simple fact that he doesn't think Americans are talented. It's also the fact that these people are paying him a lot of money. And that's why he wants to bring these people in, is because he's going to get some money out of it. On top of it, he's able to charge them less and he knows it. He's exploiting people. That's what billionaires do. And yet MAGA will still probably defend this and be like, oh, well, he's right. Like, there's just certain things we can't do here, even though they were literally saying that we can do everything here in America, that we don't need to rely on any other country. But the second Trump says that we don't have talent here and we need to bring in new people from other countries, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, he's right. He's right.
Are these companies exploiting a loophole or responding to a genuine workforce crisis? The truth is, both narratives contain a grain of truth. If you're a longtime Trump supporter, you might have felt whiplash after hearing his comments. The core MAGA message has always been to protect American jobs. So why the sudden support for more foreign workers? Social media erupted. Has Trump abandoned the working class? Some asked. Others defended him, saying it's just economic realism. Here's the conflict: economic nationalism versus global competitiveness. Trump rode into office promising to put Americans first, but now he's essentially saying sometimes there aren't enough qualified Americans. Is this a betrayal or a brave admission of reality?
Did you hear the news? Trump told Laura Ingraham that there's not enough talented Americans to do these jobs and that we have to bring in foreigners because they're talented enough. We have to bring in foreigners because they're talented. And Americans, yeah, we're just not enough of talented Americans, according to Trump. So we have to get rid of the foreigners because the jobs Americans want that are low paying, like picking fruit and construction and stuff like that, Americans can have those jobs. We have talent for those type of jobs. So we got to get rid of all the foreigners. But the jobs that pay a lot of money, yeah, we need foreigners for that, according to Trump. Yeah, we just don't have enough talented Americans, according to Trump. So yeah, we have to bring in foreigners for the talented, high-paying jobs. And for the low-paying jobs, yeah, we've got plenty of Americans for that. Those aren't my words. Those are Trump words. Check out the Laura Ingraham interview. I'm not joking.
Whatever your answer, the political cost is real. Trump risks alienating parts of his base at a crucial moment. Let's talk about what Silicon Valley thinks. For years, tech leaders have sounded the alarm. The global talent pipeline is drying up. They argue that without H-1B visas, America will fall behind in the AI arms race and lose its edge in technological innovation. The terms human capital and innovation ecosystem get thrown around a lot. Human capital means skilled people, the lifeblood of any tech company. The innovation ecosystem, that's the network of universities, startups, and investors that make breakthrough ideas possible. Imagine Google trying to build the next big thing in quantum computing, but half the necessary PhDs are in India or China. If America locks out global talent, the risk isn't just fewer jobs, but slower progress for everyone.
Why are there so few Black tech workers in Silicon Valley?
Honestly, we're not going to have a clear conversation about the lack of representation in tech if we don't talk about the issues that are going on within the tech industry as a whole. You are more likely to face hostility in your work environment in the tech industry if you are a Black person. Why are we not challenging that? Why are we not doing something about that? Why are we not having conversations about the implicit bias that I would have to face in trying to get into the tech industry? If you are not privy to the connections, the referrals, and the overall recruitment process, it is something that is so difficult to break into. But the recruitment processes can be a lot better when it comes to hiring Black workers. In the past 7 years, there has been a 1% increase in the number of Black workers in tech, which is way lower than any other racial group. Why is that? Why is that? We need to have these conversations. If we do not tackle the implicit bias in the recruitment process, these numbers will never change.
Is this just self-interest from tech giants, or is there a real crisis brewing? That's the billion-dollar question. Now, let's shine a light on a group often left out of this debate: Black workers and underserved communities. Studies from Brookings and the Economic Policy Institute reveal that tech jobs in places like Atlanta, Detroit, and Houston remain stubbornly inaccessible for local Black talent, despite the supposed skills gap. Two more terms: structural inequality and pipeline problem. Structural inequality means deep-rooted barriers like lack of access to STEM education. The pipeline problem, it's the shortage of qualified workers from marginalized backgrounds entering tech. So, when Trump says America has no talent, who is he talking about? Is the problem a lack of talent or a lack of opportunity?
We have some big news right now. A rift is emerging this evening between MAGA and Trump, as MAGA is not happy after Donald Trump, during a Laura Ingraham interview, said that America essentially doesn't have enough talented people for highly skilled jobs and is therefore embracing the H-1B visa program, which brings in foreigners to work highly skilled labor in the United States. And Laura Ingraham asks, well, we don't need folks from abroad. We have talented people here in the United States. And he goes, we don't have talented people. And she was kind of taken aback. She was shocked. She was like, what do you mean we don't have any talented people? He went on to explain the fact that we need people who can make batteries and stuff. And Americans simply are just not talented enough to do that. And well, that's actually upset a lot of folks on the right because a lot of them don't want H-1B visas granted freely. They want to make it harder to have a job in the United States of America, not easier for foreigners. And it's creating this rift between Donald Trump, who's calling Americans untalented, and his supporters who don't want him to bring in folks from abroad. Spread the word. We'll see what happens next. Follow along to update on all the news that you need to know about. More to come soon.
If companies invested more in education and training, could they find the skills they claim are missing? These are questions every policymaker should consider. Why is this conversation exploding right now? Well, it's an election year, and labor market trends are shifting fast. Terms like full employment and skills mismatch are everywhere. Full employment means most people who want a job have one, but skills mismatch means the jobs available don't fit the workforce's abilities. Let me tell you a story. In Michigan, auto jobs are going electric. Workers trained for gas engines suddenly don't qualify for new positions in battery tech. Politicians seize on this angst. Trump's comments tap directly into voter fears about being left behind by both immigration trends and technological change.
Donald Trump just put his supporters in the find out phase as he's now saying we have to import foreign workers because American workers don't have talent. Now, this was tonight in a continuation of his disastrous interview with Laura Ingraham, where the topic of the H-1B visa came up. And Donald Trump defended the continued use of it by saying this.
If you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
Also do have to bring in talent.
Well, we have plenty of talented people.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people.
No, you don't have.
Yeah, no, you don't have talented people here. You don't. This right here is a complete betrayal of MAGA, of America First. And he told you guys, he didn't care about you. He only wanted your vote. He said that loud and clear. So now the question, MAGA, is, do you continue to support him? If you do, you were never serious about the movement. It was all about him. Now's the time for you to put up or shut up. Congratulations.
It's no coincidence this is happening as campaigns ramp up. The stakes, not just jobs, but the national narrative around who deserves opportunity in America. Are new H-1B rules on the way? Insiders say yes. The Department of Labor and immigration agencies are under pressure to revise certification criteria and enforce stricter wage protections. Here are two technical terms for you: prevailing wage and cap exemption. Prevailing wage means employers must pay H-1B workers the average local rate for their role to prevent undercutting. Cap exemption allows some research or nonprofit jobs to bypass the annual quota. Now, you might be wondering, will any of these changes favor American workers? In reality, tweaks have rarely closed the loopholes critics complain about. But with Trump's new comments and mounting pressure from both labor and tech lobbyists, we could see meaningful reforms or just more political theater. The next 6 months will be telling. So, where does this all leave us? America finds itself at a crossroads, balancing the ideals of opportunity with the hard realities of a globalized labor market. The technical terms here are human capital flight, when skilled workers leave for greener pastures, and reskilling, the process of retraining the workforce for new industries. If the U.S. doesn't import talent, will it lose its tech edge? If it does, will millions of Americans be left out? Here's my challenge to you. Next time you hear a politician say, America has no talent, ask who's missing from the conversation. Is it about visas, education, or something deeper? The future of work isn't just a slogan. It's the reality facing every worker from Silicon Valley to Savannah. Stay tuned. The next chapter in this debate is just beginning.
Well, I don't know if any of you have gone over to X recently. Oh man, it is so much fighting among the Republicans right now. Some people are actually saying MAGA is dead. MAGA is dead. But I know they have turned, many of them have turned on Donald Trump since he did that interview with Laura Ingraham this weekend. He pretty much gave them a slap in the face. He pretty much told his base they're all too dumb to be in high-tech positions. That's what he told them. And they're having a fit. But is he lying? Like I said, Vivek said the same thing. But they're mad at Vivek. Donald Trump saying it. He's just saying it a different way, but he's saying the same exact thing. Y'all not smart enough. You're walking around with all these claims of having high IQs, but your president is telling you you're not smart enough for big tech positions. My last job was a big tech position. I was a senior manager. But I can tell you overall in the company, I had the most melanated people. I had 2, 3 actually, 1 left, you know, but the bottom line is if you walk through that company, you didn't see many of us there. They don't try to put a lot of us in big tech companies. It's always been that way. It's still like that to this very day. But they are so offended by what Donald Trump said. Donald Trump pretty much called his whole base dumb. Dumb. He said he likes the poorly educated. Well, that's what he got in his base. That's exactly what he got. Poorly educated MAGA. That's all he got. And those folks are now turning on Donald Trump. If you go over on TikTok, y'all, they're now burning their Make America Great Again caps. Well, then what a waste of money. So don't those caps cost almost like $40? I know it's up there in price. You wouldn't catch me dead wearing that red ugly, please. So anyway, now they got a new America First hat that they are allegedly putting on their head. So I'm not down with the paraphernalia. I don't need none of it and I don't want none of it. And plus, I'm not part of Donald Trump's base anyway. I wouldn't be caught dead being part of his base. Okay, PM2290, thank you so much for the super chat. B1 and Shalom Lisa, thank you for everything. White tea supremacy is self cannibalizing, and it's evident that MAGA's civil war and its imminent implosion. Let's stay out of the way and keep the Most High's word. Amen. Thank you so much for your support for my channel. I deeply appreciate it. Mhm. Oh no, they are too through. Remember, when Donald Trump did those mass firings in the beginning of the year, he let a lot of his own base go. It was quite a few people, MAGA, that were working for the federal government. He fired those folks. And you want to see how upset they are with that? Go check out some of the videos on social media. Oh, I used to be MAGA. I don't support Donald Trump anymore. I can't believe what Donald Trump has done to this country. Well, you voted for him. You voted for him. You thought you could trust a 34 convicted felon, and you thought that man, that very same man, was going to tell you the truth about everything. He ain't nothing but full of trickeries and schemes, and the man is the embodiment of what a criminal really truly is in this country. But Donald Trump ain't thinking about his base. He don't care about them folks. He don't care about them. He got the presidency and he's going to sit there and do whatever the hell he wants. He does not care about those folks that are his base. They're expendable. The way he sees it, they are all expendable. He can get rid of all of them. Mhm. So y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. And I got one more, and it's the rift between Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene. So that one will be at 5:45. I hope to see you all then. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Shalom, family.